Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Advocacy. Tonight we have Bunny with us and we have Mr. Marcus with us. We've been chatting a lot, so I feel like me and him are good friends now. So I'm just going to call him Marcus. Marcus, if you. I'm just going to go ahead and refer to you as Marcus. But from our flyer, for those that haven't seen it, we're going to talk about Melwood. I know we have Camp Accomplish on there. That's one component of Melwood. But we're going to talk about Melwood as a whole and what they have to offer our special needs individuals, kiddos, and adults. So, with that being said, Marcus, I'm going to turn this over to you so you could just tell us about Melwood and tell us your role in Melwood, please.
Yeah, so Melwood as a whole, the parent organization of Camp Accomplish, is a program that enables individuals with disabilities to gain empowerment through job placement, job training. We help individuals who are old enough and able to find jobs. We have contracts that we have through various organizations. We do a lot of job training. A lot of people have heard of Melwood because we also have programs like car donation and different things like that. We have advocacy or agricultural programs that operate out of our community services area. And then, but the primary focus of Melwood in its core is providing individuals with disabilities opportunities to find sort of gainful employment, live with dignity, and sort of be immersed into sort of the rest of the society at large. My role as the program director at Camp Accomplish is, so I work with the portion of Melwood that's called Melwood Community Services. Melwood Community Services is a breakout of Melwood that operates out of our Melwood Dower House office in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and then down here in the Nanjemoy area. Our Nanjemoy location is where my physical office is, and we operate a few different things out of here. We have a partnership or a collaboration with agricultural element where we provide community services. We grow plants and have greenhouses and all of that sort of stuff. We also provide training and learning at our greenhouse locations, teaching people how to sort of live sustainable lifestyles through the things that we eat, growing our own vegetables, growing our own stuff. And we teach people essentially how to do that through our greenhouse learning program. We also have some commercial greenhouses that we sort of have plants and grow flowers and sell back to the community some of the things that we grow. And then the portion that I really work for, and granted, I will tell you, I'm not giving you the full scope and scale of it. If you want that information, you could go to melwood.org. You'll find a lot of information on our organization there. But the aspect that I work for is called Camp Accomplish. Camp Accomplish is a summer program for children with and without disabilities. We allow children in an overnight and day capacity to come participate in activities, build things like independence, and provide sort of an outlet for children who sometimes wouldn't normally have an opportunity to participate in summer programming to be involved. Camp Accomplish started as a program that was really designed for people with disabilities to be able to come to camp, but also bring their friends, siblings, and family members, or friends, siblings, and allies who didn't have disabilities so that they can have a shared summer camp experience. And we sort of maintain that tradition. And so that's why we say we have a program for children with and without varying disabilities. And yeah, so we come together during the summer. We run a 10-week program that are broken out into 10 individual 1-week sessions that allows our campers to participate in all sorts of activities, things from STEM, nature, high ropes, climbing walls, of course, field sports, things like cooking, swimming at our pool. We have a pond where we do some canoeing and fishing, just all sorts of different types of activities. But more importantly, it's about the community that we try and create, and bringing people, children from all different backgrounds with varying types of disabilities into a space where they can feel safe, feel supported, feel included, um, and allowing them to really sort of be the best version of themselves in a very safe and supporting space.
I almost want to come myself. My goodness,
Wonderful.
I want to
Wonderful.
be a part of it. Now, with you guys doing so much, how do you navigate staff? How do you find your staff? Do you guys do your own training, or do your staff typically come already trained to handle the varying disabilities?
Yeah, so we find staff in a variety of ways. Many of our staff we have a good portion of our staff that come from right here in the United States, usually university students, um, and we also have staff that come from all over the world, South
Oh,
America,
wow.
Europe, out in the Caribbean areas as well. Generally speaking, many of our staff members come with a desire and understanding or an interest in working in the sort of special needs space. Some of them are studying in school, some of them are students who are studying it, and some of them are active teachers who work in these spaces already that are interested in a summer opportunity that would be very different from anything that they can find, anywhere else. You can flip burgers at McDonald's for a summer, or you can come and hang out at a pool or do some STEM, go on nature walks, play sports with children. Of those two options, I think I'm going to choose to sort of go hang out in a camp environment. As far as the training, one of the things that I think that we are really fortunate is we offer sort of before our campers come, really a 2-week orientation program for our counselors and working
Okay.
with our children. So um, on top of the things that they already come, their own background, their own experiences, their own information that they're sort of informed by and coming into these spaces, we also have a 2-week training program. Many programs around the country don't offer something as long as 2 weeks. Many programs are going to do a 1 week or a 7-day training program, and then your kids come and then you're off to the races. But I feel like in an environment like this, it's important that we take our time and go through things in a thorough way, because we're training on a lot of things that many other camps around the country don't necessarily have to focus on. And so taking that extra week, taking that extra time, and going through some of these processes, some of our standards, making sure that we're sort of detailed and our staff understand exactly what their role is with our campers is really key and really important to us. So staff come from all over the world, short answer, and a lot of the training that we do on site, we've just made it a little bit longer than what you'll find in most summer camp experiences.
That's amazing. So the campers can be dropped off during the day and parents just come back and pick them up, or they stay for the week.
Yeah, so one of the unique pieces of our program is we actually offer both options. We have a day camp element for our children starting at 5 years old. Um, and then at 8 years old, children are able to opt into our overnight program for that week. And then our programming goes up to 16 years old. 16 plus campers that are older than that are able to sort of participate in our CIT program. And then we're pioneering this year an actual program for young adults with developmental and chronic health or developmental disabilities and chronic health conditions. So we have a program in our final week of programming that is for young adults or campers for life that start at 18 and go to 35 years old. That program is exclusively overnight, but all of the rest of our programming, for the most part, is day element as well as an overnight element.
I love Paul. I promise I'm gonna let you say something, but I'm so interested
No,
in
but
this.
real quick, what was CIT? I know you said CIT. Can you tell us exactly what that is?
Sorry, yeah. So our CIT program is really for campers who are 16 plus. CIT stands for Counselor in Training. It's really a
Okay.
mentor
Oh,
or
okay.
role model program that allows older campers at heart to come to our program and really take on a bit of a higher level of responsibility, helping out staff, learning a little bit more about what it means to be a role model.
Oh, I
Um,
love it.
and then also being able to participate in the summer programming and having fun as well.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Is there a cost for this?
There is. Now you can find
Okay.
all of the financial information on our website. I will
Okay.
say, we our focus is not in profiteering here. Our focus is providing community. So
Yes.
there is cost. Our day camp currently is $550 um, for the week, and then our overnight program for the week. Our weeks run for overnight program Sunday through Friday. Our day camp program runs Monday through Friday like normal. Um, our overnight program is $12.50 for the week. We also have scholarships available
I
for
was about to say
families
that.
who might need something like that,
Like
or who
me.
might be interested in stuff like that, which opens up the opportunity for even more people. And I think that's really the important part of what summer camp
Hmm.
is supposed to be about. At its core, is providing um, as opportunity to as many people as possible. So we do have uh, scholarship opportunities for families that are able to apply or interested in that.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And I will say that Morgan has attended this camp for at least 5 or 6 years straight. And I will say that we did get financial assistance. So I want to say that don't deny yourself the opportunity to provide, I mean, to apply for financial aid thinking that you won't get it, because we definitely received it. And I will say for Morgan's did the daytime as well as the evening. She stayed. And I mean, it was so rewarding. I think it was good for her because it helped her with that separation anxiety.
Mhm.
And when they took pictures, she had a counselor from out of the country. She had one for Ireland. Every time Morgan had a counselor, I think it was she had somebody from out of the US. And I will say that they got my number. They sent me pictures of her having fun. So it was, it was so, I was happy that when she was staying overnight, I was a little concerned, but they did send me pictures. They sent me notes. I got like a daily report of what she did. So it was really, really nice. And anybody that knows me know I'm over the top. I was over the top. But
Yeah.
like Marcus said, when we had our offline conversation, he was right. The first year we bought her night light. She had a light in her room, and it was a night light on it, and I bought that. And I had her bedspread. I did everything that we did at home. I had it there. And I will say it was really nice. But as time went on, the second and third year, I was like, yeah, whatever. I did make up her bed or what have you, but I just didn't, I sent them notes about Morgan, which because Morgan was involved with this Melwood throughout the year, they were totally familiar with her. The staff
Yeah.
was.
I think what some of the best camps do, the really smart and intuitive camps do, is they understand that for every first time camper, there's always a first time parent. And taking
Mhm.
care of both sides of that arrangement is really important. Making sure that we are considerate to that first time parent, because it's really easy for a camp to just be like, "Listen, we got your kid. Don't worry, they're going to be fine." But I don't know you. Why should I trust that
Yeah.
Right.
that's the case?
Right.
So making
Yeah.
sure that you're cognizant of both sides of that transaction, I think, is just as important. And we always find that your first time parent is either going to fall into one of two buckets. They're either going to be like, take this child, they'll be fine, go have fun, or they're going to be
Mhm.
like, here's our packet of notes, here's my
Yeah.
5 page,
Yeah.
I've got
Here's
my
a
notepad, and
camera
it
to
is
install in the room.
exactly. Here's the dissertation on their behaviors and their behavior
Absolutely.
patterns. Here's all the stuff that you need to know. And for either parent, I think as a camp director, one of the important parts is to sort of meet that parent where they are, as well as the camper.
Mhm. Mhm.
I would love for my grandson to participate in the camp, but I am so nervous. And I'm like you, Paul, I'm surprised that you let Morgan go and to stay overnight. I,
Mhm.
especially for a kiddo that's nonverbal,
Mhm.
it's hard enough sending them to school, being on the school bus for a few hours. That's hard, but to send them with strangers, and I understand given the notes and the whole packet of this is who he is, this is how he functions, but how do you ensure the parent, safety, for a kiddo that elopes? Uh, um, if a chaperone blink their eyes, Grayson is gone. How can you how can you put a grandma like me, who
Sure.
is a helicopter grandma, who's always, I'm right there. He is displaying a lot more independence. So I want to be able to,
Sure.
release a little bit. But how can you let somebody like me know, grandma, mom, it's going to be okay. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. Like, what are the safety precautions?
Yeah. So as far as precautions, I don't really like to use the word safety precaution. I will say that our process, though, our
Okay.
process for ensuring that that children, campers, and parents feel comfortable with the environment that their child is moving into starts in the very beginning for us at the application process. The
Mhm.
important part of us sort of building this relationship with our parents and our campers starts from the very first year during your application. Not only is our application pretty extensive and it asks for information about this sort of stuff, the very things that you know about your child, we want to know that information as well. The next
Hmm.
step that you're going to find is we have an interview process for all of our first time
Mhm.
parents. Through the application process, you're going to provide us with information like, one of the benefits of our camp is we allow parents to select whether or not their child needs one-to-one attention, meaning that they would have one
Mhm.
staff member for one child, especially a child who might be specifically prone to eloping,
Hmm.
or something along those lines. We have the option for that child to be paired with a staff member that's going to be their staff member for the entire time that they're there. That staff member is going to be focused and dedicated to working with that child, even within the larger group that that child's a part of. The second thing, we have 1-to-1 ratios that can be selected, 1-to-3, 1-to-5, and 1-to-8. So parents have the ability to sort of determine where they feel like their child is going to fit best. And then during the interview process, we're going to sort of probe for information to find out, like, why do you feel this way? Talk to me a little bit about um, what why this is the case. Now, that's the first step. The second piece of our programming in this capacity is we also have a collaboration with Children's National Hospital, which is a really big hospital in the DC metro area. One of the benefits that we have is it's actually their medical team that run our medical services across the board. Um,
Okay.
we also hire staff members that are a little bit different than what other camps hire. We have a behavioral specialist whose only job is working with children who have varying behavioral needs.
Okay, I'm
So
sold. I'm sold.
that's a position that we have in our program. So I don't think that there's one thing that any camp can do to protect the safety of a child and be, cautious. We're always thinking about
Yeah.
safety. We're always trying
Yeah.
to be safety minded and mitigate risk. But it's the combination of how we compound all of these little factors that really
Yeah.
contribute to all of this. And then it's building that relationship with the parents to help them understand what it is that we do, what our week is going to look like, how your camper is going to engage in our camp program.
Hmm.
That sets their mind at ease a little bit. We also offer tours at our camp facility so that camp parents and families have an opportunity before coming to camp to meet our directors team and our leadership team that are going to be on site with your camper during the summer. So I think it's a combination of all of these things that really contribute to the camper safety, our safety uh, protocols, or processes that are more built on building the relationship with both the camper and with the family. And then, you know, uh, ultimately, I also feel as though at the end of all of this, the goal is having fun. If your
Having
camper is
fun.
having
That's
fun, if
it.
your camper is engaged in the programming, if your camper is doing something that either they're doing for the first time and didn't think that they can do it, now they're shocked and their mind is blown because they made it to the top of the climbing wall,
Yep.
or they're at the pool and they just learned how to do the breaststroke thing,
Yeah.
for the first time, or they just held their breath because they ducked their head underwater for the first time, and they're in, keeping campers engaged is another layer to that safety protocol. When campers are having fun, they don't want to go anywhere else. All they're thinking about is the thing that they're doing in that moment, in that time. And that's sort of the beauty of being a camper. And I think that's a major focus of what our program is about as well.
I love it. I love it.
And I will say that every day that Morgan came home when she was in a day program, she was exhausted. She was exhausted. Now, Marcus, also, can you tell us about the transportation options that the parents have for their
Yeah, so
campers?
we've actually changed a little bit with regards to our transportation. For our program, we have a bus that picks up at National Harbor. So primarily for families who live sort of closer to that DC area, we have a bus pickup from the National Harbor area that brings campers to camp. That bus picks up at around 7 o'clock at National Harbor, brings the campers to camp. We have a full day of camp. They get started at about 8 o'clock in the morning, and we go until 4:45, 5 o'clock, and the bus departs our camp at 4:45 and takes them back. So they're usually back home by 5:30, 5:45 from the National Harbor area. So for parents who live in DC, but have children who need a program like this, for fulfillment, or this is the only type of program that they feel as though their child might fit into, we do have options from areas like DC, but our pickup is from the National Harbor area.
Is that
Yeah,
the only place that you guys pick up from now?
it is now. Yeah, we've
Okay.
had to scale back on some of the various areas that we were picking up.
Okay.
We wanted to focus on making sure that we have good quality pickup. All of our transportation coming to camp, and leaving from camp has,
Mhm.
of course, the bus driver, but we also have an aide that's on the bus as well, helping
Mhm.
out. So making sure that we're just providing a quality experience both to camp and from camp is important. And when you're sort of scattered in that way,
Yeah.
um, I think it's rough. I also think it's rough to have to take a bus from an area like Baltimore. That's like 2 hours away from us. That's a
Yeah.
that's a tough
No, but I
commute.
know they used to have it where they picked up at the Burlington, because I know that's where Morgan used to get on. They used to have it at the Burlington, and I don't know where else, but they had it at various places in St. Charles. I don't know about PG County.
Yeah,
So,
I can't speak to exactly why the sort of focus on the one major area. I just know
okay,
that this year
okay.
that's what we're offering.
Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. Can you tell us some? I know you mentioned some of the activities that are
Yeah.
on for the summer program. Can you speak on some others, some of the other activities? Because I think you just kind of briefly talked about it.
Yeah, so our activities are based in sort of two elements in my mind as the
Okay.
program director. Two elements. One are the physical activities that are sort of built into the camp program. So those activities include things like archery, it includes things like nature walks, we include things like climbing wall, a high ropes course, as well as a low ropes course. Um, we have these cool devices that are connected to our climbing wall and high ropes, challenge, where we have like a quick flight device where we strap a camper in, and once they're up at the top, they literally just jump off
Oh
Oh my
of
gosh.
God.
the
Oh gosh.
apparatus, and the quick flight catches them. That's why they call it the quick flight. We also have a zip line, of course, for that sort of thing. We have a low ropes area that focuses more on things like team building, sort of group dynamics, helping campers sort of push past some of their sort of mental limitations that they have that are sort of self-limiting beliefs. Um, and then, of course, we have a full gardening program that is, helping campers understand things like renewable gardening and all of that. I'm not a big gardening person. I have a brown thumb. I was actually talking to the gardening director the other day. Her name is Susie. And I said, I have a brown thumb. Everything I've ever put in the ground has come up brown. It is no good. Um, but we also have equestrian program for horseback riding. If you're not necessarily in love with horses and don't necessarily want to ride the horses, we also have a program where you can come and just kind of hang out with the horses, pet the horses, braid their manes and their tails and all of that sort of stuff, and just kind of have fun around animals. We have a small little petting zoo with goats and um, different animals over in that area. We have a STEM learning program that we're actually adding to for this year, which is pretty exciting. Um, Doing sort of basic STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So
Mhm.
adding to that program and doing a little bit more there. Of course, we have the aquatics program with our pool. We have a splash pad that is new as of, I believe, last year. So if you don't want to get fully immersed in the water, the splash pad just sort of kicks water off, and so you can sort of soak in that way. We have a little pond as well, and we do some canoeing in there, but we also do a lot of fishing and different things like that. So the program has a lot, and that all of that doesn't even mention sort of our sports program and sort of athletic activities and the things that we do in our field sports like volleyball and basketball and bago and ladder golf
That
and all the
that's a lot.
things that we're doing.
That
And then, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Gaga. Gaga is the game that everybody loves. So
What
we
is
have
what is
that?
Gaga?
Gaga Pit is like dodgeball where you don't throw a ball at people. You get into an octagon type of thing and you bounce the ball and you hit it with your knuckles into the
Oh,
wall, and you're trying to hit people from the waist down. If you hit someone with the ball from the waist up, then you're out. But if you hit someone waist down, then they're out. And the goal is like to be the last man standing or woman standing in the Gaga Pit
Oh
after
wow.
I've
everybody
never
has
heard of
been
that.
taken out.
Okay.
It's a camp classic game.
That
Wow.
it's a lot. I had a few visions while you were talking about all the activities that Grayson eloped. He ran away during the nature walk. He pulled up all the flowers in the garden. He jumped in the pool and you guys couldn't get him. He went at the petting zoo. He was messing with all the animals, pulling their ears.
Mason needs a one-to-one. It sounds as though he needs to have a
Yeah,
dedicated staff person who's going to hang out with
it's
Mason
it's
Yeah.
it's
and
so many. But I
match him
know
on his level.
he would have so much fun, but he will be everywhere. He will
Yeah,
be everywhere,
yeah.
everywhere, and it's an open field. Oh my goodness!
He
But
sounds
But
that's
I
like
know
an
he
a
would have
experience.
fun.
That
Yeah.
is an experience, though,
Hmm.
because, like he said, though, Marcus was talking about the fact that a lot of our special needs individuals are somewhat deprived from having these experiences. Because when you go to camp, I know my camp experience, I mean, we had so much fun, and I do believe that. Um, when I put Morgan in other camps, they did things that she couldn't enjoy. So
Mhm.
all she could do was sit around and watch everybody. And there was no one-on-one person. So the person was assigned to her to say, okay, even if we went bowling, let's help you roll the ball or
Roll the
let's do
ball
that.
down.
She
Hmm.
just sat and she just watched. So that's what led me to wanting to put her somewhere where she belonged and she could experience
Yeah.
have that camp experience.
I
I
It's
think
just
love
it's
that
really
it's all
important.
inclusive and it
It is.
doesn't just include those with different abilities, it includes everybody, their family members. So I love that.
I think
Mhm.
it's really important that parents understand their I think camps are fantastic. And above being an advocate just for Camp Accomplish, I'm an advocate for summer camping with youth. I think as adults, as young adults, we have an obligation to sort of work with the next generation and help bring them up, give them the tools that they're going to need to survive in a world like
Mhm.
what we have.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I believe summer camp is a place that helps children find those tools, builds things like resilience and grit, and helps campers
Mhm.
understand that it's okay to be different. It's okay. There are a bunch of campers who feel different that go to camp all
Yeah.
together, and you can find your place in camp. I'm a firm believer of that. I'm also a
Mhm.
very firm believer on the other side that while camp is for everyone, every camp isn't for every person. So you have to do your
Oh, I
research
like
and
that.
find
Mhm.
your place. Find the
Mhm.
camp that works for you. Find the directors that give you those good feels. Find the places that you know your child is going to really be able to excel in. And yeah, does it take a little bit of research as a parent to have to look through this
Yeah.
overwhelming amount of sort of summer camp programming? It does. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
when you find the place that you know your child is going to thrive in, that feeling is so much bigger than all the work and effort and energy. Look, parenting is work. That's
Yeah.
Mhm.
just what it is. And unfortunately, there's no easy way around that. But finding the camp that works for your child, where your child is going to thrive, I think is an important thing. And there is a camp out there for every child. And Camp Accomplish is just one model that works for the population and the campers that we serve, but there are lots of other models that are out there. And
Mhm.
when you have a tough experience, finding the thing that fits. Now, do I think that Camp Accomplish has figured out a way to try and make just about everybody fit? Absolutely. Um,
Mhm.
but but our but my big thing is understanding that finding your camp. I found my camp as a kid, and then I found my camp again as an adult, working in camp, and then I found it again as a director in camp. At each phase of my life, the one thing about camp is that it's met me where I was and helped me grow into the man that I am today. And I attribute a lot of that to a bunch of different factors, but a big one is my experiences at camp. And so taking the time, doing the research, finding the place that resonates with you, your family, your child, your situation, I think that's, massive, because the payoff from that on the other side is so great. Giving your child those
Absolutely.
experiences and those opportunities that they may not get in any other situation is
Yep.
really important.
That's very important. Now, how do you foster or include parents for visitation? Do parents come in if the child is doing the overnight for the week? Do you have parents that may want to come in during the day, hang out with the kids, see the kid, or is it just okay, it's Sunday, I'm dropping you off, I'll be back Saturday to pick you up?
It,
Yeah.
pro-
So
it probably would be worse if you keep visiting, because I know for me, I
You did that, Paula?
they no, I didn't. And I
Oh,
say that because I did tell them my reservations, and they work with me. They were like, listen, Paula, we're going to send you updates on her. We're going to send you pictures. So from that, it made me feel comfortable, because if I did visit and she saw me, it was over.
I
It
think
was over.
I think that there are a few things that we have to take into consideration, especially with your first time camper. One, it's really important that they have an opportunity to sort of acclimate to the environment, get
Mhm,
themselves used to being in a space. It is a new space, especially for a first
mhm.
timer in the overnight capacity. A lot of our campers will start in a sort of day camp capacity, especially at that younger age, where they're
mhm,
able to sort of get used to the environment, get used to what the day looks like. Another way that it happens is when you come for a tour and you can sort of mentally prepare yourself for the spaces that you're going to be living in, because you've seen the cabin. So now I know what the cabin looks like. I know what the bed looks like. I know what sort of stuff I might want to bring. I've walked around the property, so I'm not going to be lost on my first day at camp. Um, but but the goal is to let the camper acclimate to the environment first. Now,
mhm.
that said, the short answer is we don't really want parents to come and enjoy camp
I
in that
can't come and
way.
check on Christ's sake.
However, we do offer an opportunity, especially for our overnight campers, is at the end of every week, we do what's called our awards ceremony. And for parents who really want to come, we invite our parents for our overnight campers to show up a little bit early, just after our lunch period on that Friday, which is the last day of camp. And they get to see the awards. We give the campers their awards for the week and the things that they've done. And a lot of the awards are activity-based awards, cabin-based awards. But it's a special opportunity for the parents to at least get to share a little bit, with
Okay.
their child before they pick them up and take them home. But generally speaking, our goal is to allow our campers to really build that sense of independence. It's hard to experience what resilience feels like. Something that I was told at a really young age is experience is the thing that you never get until just after you need it. And in camp, it's the same. It's important that we allow our campers to gain these super valuable experiences that are going to carry them through the rest of their life ultimately. Um,
Yeah.
Understanding, like, I remember when I was a freshman in college, and I was away from home, physically living away from home. um, it was my camp experience where it wasn't the first time that I had to do that, because I went away to sleepaway camp. This wasn't
Yeah.
my first time. So I had that experience already. I had a lot of friends who didn't make it through that first semester because they got really homesick.
Yeah.
Um, but the purpose of camp is to provide those to children, experiences in a way, that they can sort of foster their own independence and grow, as individuals, without feeling any sort of pressure one way or another, in a supportive environment that is safe. And then parents, the way that we participate with our parents is, of course, when parents reach out to us and want to know how their child is doing, we have the ability, because we're with them, to let them know this is what we did today. This is what was going on. This is how your child is doing. hey, we can even go and talk to your child to see, hey, is there any message that you want to pass along to home? You know, things like that. But really, we want to try and have this experience for our kids because they need it and it's important.
And I
Yeah,
will
I
say
definitely yeah. I
the first
I
the
love
first
it. I
time
love it.
Morgan did go, they came. She went to camp, period. And I was like, you, Bunny, I ain't even want her to go for day camp. I mean, I was a basket case.
Especially
The
when they
lady
can't
came,
tell you what's going on.
well, she came out to the house to interview me, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know about this, and I don't know. And this was just day camp. And I will say that I think what's important is to be involved with the camp, with Melwood throughout the year. I will say that, Morgan participated in Camp Accomplish, but she was involved with the camp. I mean, she was involved with Melwood all year long. Morgan did horseback riding. That was something, Bunny, I didn't even know that she would like. She did it. It was good for sensory.
Mhm.
She did horseback riding. Like every session she could get in, I got her in. And surprisingly, I was like, she ain't gonna be able to do that. She got up on that horse. She knew how to hold on. I mean, it was rewarding. So I think for me, I think the comfort level comes in being involved with Melwood throughout the year. Another thing that they used to have is different things. I don't know if they still have this, Marcus, but they used to have like camp, what is the campfire things. And so during those times too, the parents did come up there, but they had it where you roast marshmallows around the campfire. They had them where they would come up there for like Easter, New Year's. I mean, it was just a lot
That's
of things. And for me, what I would say is every time they had something, I made sure that we were there, and
Yeah.
I became familiar with the staff, and that was our community. That was just what we did. And so I think it prepared me for overnight. She didn't stay overnight for maybe like 5 or 6 years, but once she did it, I was like, she did it. I felt
Yeah.
accomplished, and I'm sure in a sense she felt accomplished
I'll
too.
be up there volunteering. I would sign up to volunteer. I'll be right on the property with Grayson.
Yeah, I mean,
Good
we're also
Lord.
actually looking to sort of pilot out some new programs in this fall where we're going to be opening up sort of family camp programs where
Oh, I would
in
like
sort of
that.
family weekends where an entire family, mom, dad, the campers,
I
can all
like
come out
that.
together um, to experience camp for the weekend. So we have some new programs that are going to be coming out in the fall that I think will be able to help bridge that little bit of a gap for those parents who are like, well, wait,
Yeah.
what is this? What are
Right.
y'all
Right.
actually doing here? Let's find out. We've got some pretty cool things that we're doing
I would
that
I
we're
like
going to be
love
that.
it.
introducing in the
Now,
course of the year.
how do you guys do you have staff that work with kiddos that's nonverbal? You have visuals. How do you deal with those that aren't using words?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you just nailed it. Visuals. I think in training our staff to understand the needs of campers like that, and then providing them with the tools and the resources to make sure that they have what they need in order to communicate effectively with those campers. And one of the things that we found to be most effective is using visual aids to help allow a camper to just point to things that they're
Okay.
looking for or things that they
Mhm.
want. I think that's a really easy type of an approach.
Mhm.
But I think again, when we're dealing with all of these things, I don't want to sort of beat the nail on the head, but it's about building that bit of a relationship. So for a nonverbal camper who's in camp who has a one-to-one, they're with the same one-to-one for pretty much the entire time, with the exception of like an hour or so a day when that one-to-one has to take a quick break to like
They
recharge their
get a
batteries.
break. They get a break.
I know. We shouldn't do it, but we do. Um, but
It's funny.
they're with that one to one pretty much the entire week. So building that relationship, that rapport that's going to naturally come with that, I think also helps as well. But generally speaking, yeah, we use a lot of visual aids. Everything that we have around camp has some sort of visual aid that goes with it. And I think generally, that's not been a specific challenge. You know,
That's
with
good.
that too.
Marcus, as the program director, you have really sold me on Melwood, the
That's
camp.
what I
You I
told him.
mean, like I'm so
Yes,
excited and
I did
I
my
can like I
job.
said, I can visualize Grayson being there, but then I'm right there somewhere. I'm somewhere
Hiding
there.
behind a tree.
I'm behind
Uh,
a tree.
uh,
I'm somewhere. I'm somewhere. I've got staff on speed dial.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I can literally imagine Grayson being there. He's got his iPad running around having fun, like overstimulated because I'm sure it's so much stuff going on. But you have really done a fabulous job selling, the fun, the all inclusive fun for everybody because it's not too many camps that will take a kid like Grayson.
Mhm,
He's a good kid, happy kid. He loves to play just like any other kid, but his play may be a little bit different.
mhm.
He may play with this for about 2 minutes and he gone over there to play with that for 3 minutes. And it's just a different type of play, but to know that there is a place that accepts him for who he is, to work with him, to support him, emotional support, his fun, everything, that is just, I'm just so touched. I had
Well, I
no
mean,
idea that
that means at least I in part I did a little bit of my job, and
you
at least
did.
getting
You
you
really
interested.
did. Look, you got me. You really did. Paula was already a believer, but I mean, you've sold that camp.
Well, I
Good.
had to be reintroduced because,
Mm.
after the pandemic, a lot changed.
Yeah.
But I will say that I went up there for the Easter program, and me and my husband were in awe. I was like, "Oh, we got to get back involved with the community."
Wow.
And I will say this, Marcus. I mean, your application, the application, Bunny.
It's
If
a
you get a
college it's a
chance,
college application.
it is. I mean, and I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'll be like, they asked this already. But I will say that it's so extensive. And then when you go into the interview, they kind of hammer away at different things. So I mean, they take copious notes. It's a team of people. So I will say that anytime I feel like Morgan is a very, very, very difficult person, but most of the staff, when I went up there for Easter and when they saw her, they were like, Morgan won the best dressed when she was
Of course she did. Of course.
yeah.
Her mom is the best dressed.
No, I think Morgan, I mean, when I went up there, I mean, I will say that I did get involved with the panel. So it was just talking like you, Bunny, to talk with the staff. They had the incoming staff, and we were just as parents expressing our desires for
Yeah.
our kids to be in a safe environment,
Mhm.
but be able
Mhm.
to enjoy themselves. They were able to ask us questions. They were able to meet our individuals. Marcus, do you all still do things like that? It was kind of like right before 2 or 3 weeks before the camp started, they had a parent panel and we got to meet many of the counselors, and then
Oh
they
yeah,
just
that
got
would be
to,
nice.
yeah, they got to talk to us and ask us questions about our individuals. And at that time Morgan got a preview of a lot of the counselors, and they got a preview of her, but it gave us a chance to kind of roam and talk to each person.
That's really interesting. We don't have a iteration of that right now in the program. And I think that may have been one of those things that fell off during COVID because
Hmm. Hmm.
of all of the things that came with it and then
Hmm.
just never picked back up because,
Hmm.
we've really sort of revamped our program, brought in new
Hmm.
staff, brought in new blood, new energy. But
Hmm.
that's a really interesting thing. That's a great note for me to
It's
take
a
back to the
it's a
team.
yeah, that's something great to
Um,
have if you
Yeah,
yeah, I
can
it
mean,
gave us.
especially
implement that.
if parents felt like they got value from something like that, I think it's a
It
great note.
Mhm.
was, and they gave us, the campers got to see out what our focus was and what we expected for our individuals. So we got to just tell them, like you, Bunny, I was like, I was apprehensive because I was afraid of this, that, and in between.
Yeah.
But we really got to converse with them and just kind of put in place what our expectations were as far as our individuals coming to camp. And I mean, I will say it was so good because people got to meet Morgan ahead of time.
Mm.
Mhm.
And I got to meet them ahead of time. So I mean, if that's something, I mean, I don't know if you want to take that back to them and just
It's
let
already
them
on my
know that.
notepad. It's going back.
Okay, because
It's
that
already
was
written down.
very
So yeah,
helpful. Another thing that I wanted to ask too about is the nurse on staff. I know when Morgan stayed overnight, they met with each parent and they had an extensive meeting. I
yeah,
bought her medicine. I mean,
yeah,
I had it all sectioned out. So
yeah.
that was another thing for me. It was like her overnight was a little scary because I was like, nobody knows how to give her the medicine like I do. And you know, and just all of this, but the way that they handled her medication, I mean, it was
Mm,
like a well-oiled machine. And
yeah,
so even in the daytime, I know that they have a nurse on campus. Do they
yeah.
just have
So
one more?
no, we actually have during the summer season. We actually have two nurses that are there for the entire generally 8 week or 10 week season,
Mhm.
and then as I mentioned with you, our collaboration with Children's National, their medical team. So one of the key elements that 45 minutes in, I still haven't even dropped on the conversation,
Oh,
is
drop.
one of the key elements of our programming is that we have specific sort of focus weeks for each week of our programming. And so 1 week of our programming would be something like our Camp Connect, which is our autism week. We have
Mhm.
another week for epilepsy. Um,
Mm.
each of these weeks really focus around um, trying to provide programming that is suited and focused on sort of making sure that we're meeting the needs of those individual children. Um, uh, and for each of those weeks, the medical team from Children's National that focus on that aspect of the wing in the hospital, they actually come down to our camp program, and it's their team that sort of run that week.
That's
Um,
awesome.
so, um,
That's
yes,
awesome.
not only do we have medical staff that are assigned and they're there for the duration of the summer, but we also have the Children's National team that come out to our camp as well and are there for the summer season to help us out.
That is
This is
awesome.
it really is. Now, Marcus, so let's drive this home for me.
Okay.
So, at nighttime, for the
Yeah.
kiddos that don't sleep and roam at night,
Yeah.
how do you what are the safety precautions that are provided for those kiddos that roam at night when that one-on-one aide is exhausted, they've
Yeah.
only had an hour break the
Yeah.
whole day, they are tired. What
Sure.
happens at night, Marcus?
Yeah, so I think this is sort of an area that is really going to be a bit of a learning experience for me, but there's a couple of things here. One, we have a segment of our staff that um, are not in the cabin at all times. So we're able to sort of shift our staff members out. I think, Paula, you sort of alluded to this design in our camp a little earlier in the conversation. Or maybe that was before we came on here, but
I think
generally
that was
speaking,
offline.
yeah.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, we have a group of campers or staff members that are sleeping in the cabin um, and are really supposed to be responsible for addressing all of those issues. But we also have a group of cabin or counselors who are not sleeping in the cabin. So we split our counselors virtually in half. And then we rotate them out. So our counselors get to have really full good night sleep at certain points throughout the week where they're able to sort of sleep through the night without those major responsibilities. And then we have other nights where that counselor would then be in the cabin and is responsible for what's going on in the cabin. So generally speaking, um, so generally speaking, the staff members who are in our cabin, we're just trying to keep them
Okay.
um, energized and ready to be able to address some of that stuff at night. But
Yeah.
that's a very common thing, specifically during like diabetes week, where we have campers who might see lows in the middle of the night overnight, and a staff member is responsible for hopping up and checking on all of that stuff and making sure we take the
Okay.
appropriate precaution. But the goal here is to keep our staff rejuvenated and feeling good,
Okay.
and so that they're able to address those issues when they arise at night. If we have a camper that we know is prone to that sort of stuff, then we're going to take extreme precaution to make sure that we have staff rotating through, and making sure that we're aware of that is really the key. So that relationship with the parents is really going to come in handy, especially if the parent knows,
Y'all need to
hey,
get
mom.
some of those. What is that? That cubby bed that you zip that child up at night and lock so they
And I
can't get
will
out
say
that
that
bed.
Morgan needed a counsel. She needed a night counselor.
Yeah,
And because she was in a foreign place, her sleeping was a little off.
absolutely. Yep.
They never had a problem. And I will say that this is Lulu, right?
That is Lulu. Yes,
Yeah.
I didn't
So
know
I
if
just
anybody
put
could see
that
that.
out
I was
there.
looking at it. I was like, there's Lulu. Lulu is the director of the retreat center. She's also my supervisor.
Yeah.
Um,
Lulu, Marcus has done a good job. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to come to camp. I have to come. I need
Yeah.
I need to be a camper.
I want to come and visit. Marcus, tell us how we can come and visit.
I think there's a lot of different ways
I
to
want
get
to come and
involved. It's
play.
probably not going to
Visit
be
and
exactly
play.
during the
Bunny, you
summer
got to
season.
come visit first. Go
Visit
ahead,
and
It's not going
Marcus.
to be
play.
exactly during the summer season, but like I said, we have opportunities for parents to come and see the camp and see tours. Myself or Lulu, who just hopped on here, uh, would be more than happy to give a family a tour of the camp. We also have various opportunities where Melwood is doing sort of various things with the camp, and so you have an opportunity to become a volunteer if you want to come to the camp one day and help us out with something that we're doing, like the extravaganza that we had a couple of weeks ago that Paula was at. We had a lot of volunteers that were helping us out there. We also have a thing coming up here pretty soon called Corp Fest.
That's
Um,
it right there,
oh, I'm
Lulu. That's
sorry.
it. That's
There it
it,
is.
Lulu. Right there.
Lulu just jumped in on
See, Lulu
it.
knew. She knew. Let's keep it real.
Yeah,
We need
the door
door
regs.
alarms.
Yes. Sorry, and I should I should edit that out. All of our buildings have alarms on the doors so that
She
we
said,
can.
"You're doing a fabulous job, Marcus. I
Yeah.
told you you would." This is what she said. You're doing a fabulous job.
We'll debrief it on it tomorrow, Lulu. Remember this part where you left this on the table? Yeah. No, all
But you
good.
know, another thing, Marcus, how do people get on your mailing list? Because that's how I found out about the Easter program, because I'm on your mailing list. And that's how I find out things that's going on throughout the year.
Yeah, that information is right on our website. If you want to hop on there to contact us, put your information in there, reach out to us, let us know that you're interested in getting involved, and one of our team members, either from Melwood or Camp Accomplished, depending on the side that you're sort of reaching out, will reach back out to you and get you plugged in. But all of that
What
type
about
of
social
information
media? Any
you'll be able
social
to find on
media
our website. Yeah,
platforms?
all of our links are also on either melwood.org or campaccomplished.org.
Okay.
Okay. Now, another thing, Marcus, that I know we didn't really get to zone in on is if you're over 18 and because like I told you offline, I went in because they said they had a space for Morgan, and it was like, hurry up and go log her in. And those camps are overnight only. So you
Yes.
said that was like a pilot program. Can you tell us? I know we get ready to end because we got to end at 9 o'clock, but can you give us a brief overview of that and tell us some of the things that they do with the older individuals?
Yeah, so I mean, the general sort of 10,000 foot spiel is we're trying to do camp for young adults. That's the focus of it. But yes, essentially that program is designed to sort of build community around adults with developmental disabilities or chronic illnesses that are between the age of 18 to 36 or 35. There are a lot of camp programs that work with people with varying types of disabilities or developmental disabilities that, allow campers to come up to 99. I was at a conference recently and met a 76-year-old summer camper who goes to
Mhm.
camp every
Wow.
single year.
Wow.
And so our focus is we understand that there's a need there too. And our
Yeah.
focus is trying to sort of meet that need. So those campers come to camp and they get to do the things that our other campers get to do as well. With a focus on sort of the community around it all. And that's why we sort of do the overnight. I think one of the features of the overnight only aspect of it is that we're going to get closer with that group, we don't have a group coming during the day and leaving at the end of the day. So
Right.
that group is going to become probably more close knit. These are my hopes for this. I can't say that I know for sure. But the hope is that we're going to build a more close knit community. But as far as like what we're going to be doing in our day, activities, games, maybe some more stimulating things that are designed to sort of work with the older population, the adult population. But the goal is camp. We want to create an opportunity for camp for all, camp for all ages, and people to come and really have a good time experiencing things that they may not be able to experience in any other
I love
capacity.
it.
Now,
I
is
love
that
it.
something that you guys think that you would keep doing throughout the year? Because I know most of the kids are in school. The older, the 18-year-olds are out of school. And well, most of them in this area, they're out by 21. But is that something that you all believe that you'll keep doing throughout the year?
That is a
And
note.
he's writing it down.
I know. I
Yeah,
like it. And
that's
I
I
say
think
that,
that's a great
yeah,
idea.
yeah, because I think that a lot of them don't have, once they finish school, a lot of them are kind of, we're fishing for things for them to do. So for me, once Morgan finishes school, I would love to be able to bring her up there to some of the programs that you all even have throughout the day, or they can have on the weekends for, for her, because all the time Dower House, if it's like if you have something at Dower House, it would be good to mirror that at Nanjamoy with all of that space and all.
Mm,
Not saying that y'all not doing anything, but I'm just saying it would be nice to have like movie night outside on
sure,
Fridays
sure.
and all. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I think these ideas are great. And honestly, like that's where a lot of our other ideas that we do now come from, is just our community telling us like what they need and then seeing how we can figure out a way to fill that need. So yeah, I love it. I love the idea. And Lulu,
Marcus.
This is
there's another one for you.
amazing. This has been
Marcus, you have
amazing.
done an awesome job. I knew you could. I knew you
Thanks.
would.
I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
Yes,
Now
appreciate it.
let me ask one last question. I know we gotta get ready to wrap up. This has been an amazing
yes, it has.
discussion. Marcus, what are the day hours?
For the day camp program.
Yes, day camp program.
Yeah, so the day camp program starts at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Um, they should be there for breakfast, which we serve at 8:30. So our goal is to have them
hmm
there by that time. And then the day camp program ends. Pickup starts at 4:45.
Okay.
So by
That's a
5 o'clock,
long
the day
day.
camp program is over.
That's not
That's a
long.
long
I need
day.
until 6 o'clock. 8 to 6.
If your
I need
camper is
it at
taking the
6.
bus back up to the National Harbor area up in sort of DC,
Mhm.
that's
Oh,
probably
okay.
about a 50
Yeah.
minute to an hour
Yeah,
ride.
because
So
by the
Yep.
time they get there, because I know by
we're
the
Yeah.
probably
time
around
Morgan used to
5:30.
get back to Burlington, it would sometimes be 5:30, 5:45, and I had to rush her home, feed her, and get her into bed for the next day. She would be exhausted.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Bunny, you will
Exhausted.
get it. You will get it. Marcus, this has been so
Yes.
awesome. I thank you for just reintroducing me to Mel. What I saw Marcus at one of the expos I was at, and when he was setting up his table, guys, I was like, wait a minute,
Beelined it for me.
I was like, oh no, we're gonna stay in touch.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you could tell, Marcus, but I have one of those personalities that won't leave you alone. And
No,
then
this
when
has been great. It's been a pleasure.
we
I
went to the
appreciate you guys
Easter
having me
program,
on.
I was like, Marcus, oh yeah, Marcus, come on. I need more information. But
This
I'm
has
just
been
telling you,
amazing.
yeah,
hmm
this is really, really nice. I'm definitely planning to get Morgan back involved in Mailwood overall. I'm really interested and I'm
Yeah.
excited
Great.
about what you guys are doing. If you need any advisory committees, I mean, listen, after we get off, I'm gonna start getting my wheels to turning. Yeah.
Good.
That's that retirement brain.
Yeah.
It is.
Well,
I'm retired, Marcus, so I don't have nothing but time.
awesome. That means you can come and volunteer in the gardening center and
I
do all this sort of
can.
stuff. Get
And
involved
then
in our pork fest
you can
days.
watch Grayson. You can keep your eye on Grayson and let me know what's going on.
Girl, now I can't run that fast. No, but I want to get involved. I definitely do. I'm excited.
Great.
Yes, I want to be
Great.
involved.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Love it.
Yeah, so
Very
I just
good.
appreciate you, Marcus, for stepping out on this limb. Hey guys, Marcus is saying he's coming up on his 90 days. Can you guys tell? I can't, because guess what? Marcus is taking at 90 days and he has done a whole hour podcast. He's given us so much information. For
Absolutely.
those that don't know, this is Mailwood Camp Accomplished. Get involved, get on their mailing list. You'll get different emails about activities they're having. So if you're a parent with a special needs individual, and I know it's all inclusive, but I'm talking from the special needs side because we don't have as many, programs and
Yep.
activities that our kids can get involved in. Get involved in this, guys. It's a community. And once you get involved, you build that relationship with the staff, and it's your home run after that. So that's my little spill. Bunny, you go ahead and say something, Marcus, you close us out.
This has been amazing, Marcus. And when you gave me the day camp rate, I just cashed in some pennies and I think I can afford a week. I'm happy about that. So I hope that I can get into one of the weeks that Grayson is out of school because he's got that year-round school. So
Mm.
Mhm.
I really hope so. Now, does there typically be a wait list for camp?
De- Depending on the type of need,
Okay.
there can be wait lists. Our
Okay.
one-to-one needs fill up pretty
Got it.
quickly, as I'm
Got
sure
it.
you could
Okay.
understand.
Yep.
But our 1 to 8s and 1 to 5s don't necessarily fill up as fast.
Okay.
Mhm.
Got it. This has
I
been great.
normally
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
and I do
Absolutely.
normally get in early. I do. I used
Okay.
to get in early. Soon as they send me the link saying it was open, I jump on it. And
Okay.
they do just, I'm sorry, Marcus, I got to say this real
No.
quick. They do save a lot of once you create an account with them, they save your application so you don't have to reinvent the
Redo
wheel
it.
every year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes. I'm
Yep. This
sorry,
has been
Marcus. Now
great.
go ahead
Thank
and
you
do
so
your
much,
spiel.
Marcus.
No, excellent. Thank you guys so much. Look, Camp Accomplished is here. Children 5 to 16, CITs 16 plus. If you're interested in our adult programming that we have, 18 to 35 years old, we are here to serve the community, do the best that we can. The word of the day is inclusivity. That's really what we want. We want a world that includes all people, all abilities, because in that type of
Absolutely.
an environment, we're all a lot stronger for it. So thank you guys for having me on here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. We enjoyed
Yes.
you. We're going to bug
Yes.
you to death now.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Yep.
You guys, we look forward to seeing you next week. We have another show scheduled. So, again, everybody have a great weekend and go check out Mailwood, guys.
Yep. Bye,
All
everybody.
right. Everybody have a good evening.